तुम लोग उधर जाओ ना, वो फिर चेंज नहीं करेंगी।
हम लोग आ गए शायद, फ्रंट स्टेज पे आ गए।
अबे तो अब हम लोग दिख रहे क्या? जयंत से पूछना पड़ेगा इसके।
विजिबल है आई थिंक।
है क्या? बट ये यूट्यूब लाइव में दिख रहा है ना?
हाँ
हाँ
मैंने
दिख रहा
तो
है।
दिख रहा
बट काफी लैग कर रहा है आई गेस।
है ब्लैक होता है।
बट काफी लैग कर रहा है। अबे ये आवाज किसकी है?
हाँ मैं स्ट्रीम चेक कर रहा था।
अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है। लैग काफी ज्यादा है। लॉल।
कोई नहीं, स्टार्ट करना है क्या?
अभी रुको।
कोई ऐसा स्ट्रीम करो जिसका इंटरनेट कलेक्शन बहुत हाई क्वालिटी वाला हो।
अरे वो स्ट्रीम अंजलि दीदी कर रही है, वो हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते, तो
अच्छा ठीक है।
उसका तो काम चलाना पड़ेगा।
चलो ठीक है फिर, मतलब अगर सब लोग यार चैट पे पूछ लेते कि सबको मतलब आवाज सुनाई दे रही है ना ठीक से, तो फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं।
रुको रुको अभी रुको थोड़ा।
कितने लोग आए हैं?
हाँ लाइव तो है ही आई थिंक हम।
अभी थोड़ा
अभी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं
40%
शायद। हाँ अभी ज्वाइन
हाँ
कर रहे हैं तो
आवाज सुनाई दे रही है तो वही यस लिख दो उसमें।
हाँ ये सही है ना बच्चे?
तो श्रेया शुड वी वेट या स्टार्ट कर दें?
हाँ वेट कर लो, अभी थोड़ा 35 तक वेट कर लेते हैं।
स्क्रीन शेयर कौन कर रहा है?
हाँ बताओ। गणेश तुम कर लोगे?
मेरे पास इतना नेट नहीं है अच्छा, तो तुम लोगों के पास कोई भी नहीं है क्या? और मतलब
टेबल नहीं है।
साउंड क्लियर नहीं है।
कोई कर रहा है क्या? प्रेजेंट करते हैं क्या?
साउंड का क्या करना है?
पहले प्रेजेंट कर
तब तक जो भी लोग अटेंड कर रहे हैं लाइक अपने ग्रुप्स में एक बार रिप्लाई कर दो मैसेज रिमाइंडर टाइप और आ जाएंगे, फिर वी कैन स्टार्ट 2-3 मिनट।
हम्म 96 लोग आ गए।
2:05 हो गए.
थोड़ा 2 मिनट और वेट कर लेते हैं. Guys, call your friends if they are not here. We'll start in 2 minutes.
CSE से कौन कौन आया है? एक बार चैट में लिखना. कोई नहीं है क्या? ओ, बढ़िया बढ़िया.
मतलब ऐसे डायरेक्टली रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आएगा, शायद 1 या 2 मिनट्स का डिले है, तो तू जो बोलेगा वो 1-2 मिनट बाद शायद उनके पास पहुंचेगा, तो 1-2 मिनट बाद शायद बोलने का मैं फीस देता हूँ.
और भी एक और ओरिएंटेशन हुआ था, उसमें भी ये लैग हो रहा था, तो कंफ्यूजिंग था.
ऐसा है क्या? ट्रिकी है.
मतलब शुरुआत में स्टार्ट करने से पहले बोलेंगे कि कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो डाल देना, लास्ट में सबके क्वेश्चन एक साथ फिर हम लोग बता देंगे कि जो कुछ भी अगर से कुछ पूछना हो तो. उससे लैग का डिसएडवांटेज सबसे कम रहेगा.
हाँ.
Where is Sebstrom भैया? श्रेया कहाँ पर है?
He's not here today. Sepstrom भैया has
स्टार्ट कर देते हैं. आते रहेंगे.
कोई उद्गम की ऑल टीम मीट छोड़ के आया है क्या यहाँ पे?
Okay, so let's start. Hello, freshers. Septrum brings to you Inside Texture. So we have with us branch changers and toppers of our batch. They will be discussing each of your courses in great detail. So stay tuned till the end. You can ask your doubts in the chat section, live chat. Just mention your doubts. We'll be answering all of them at the end. So I am Shreya Goyal. I am academic representative in Sepstrom, and we have Ganesh. He is also academic representative in Team Sepstrom. So let me introduce the speakers to you. We have with us Pradnesh Kalkar. He is in CSE as of now. He changed his branch from MNC to CSE. Then we have Swapnil. He is in CSE. And Aniket, he changed his branch from EC to CSE. Let me tell you, Aniket was the topper of our batch. He had 10 CPI. And we have
Pradnesh as well. Pradnesh as well.
Yeah, Pradnesh as well. And we have with us Ahan and Vinayak. They also changed their branch from EC to CSE. And we have Snigdha. She changed her branch from EEE to EC. She's in Team Sepstrom. So I guess if you all are there, so we can start. with the orientation. So
I'll
handing
just,
over to you, Ahan.
I'll share my screen first. Are you able to see my screen?
It's visible.
Freshers, just
Is the
type in
screen there?
if you can, if the screen is visible. Yeah. Okay, you can start.
Yeah, so I'll be taking the first slide. The first slide is not just a formal introductory slide, but it contains certain important general things that would be of use in each course and, in fact, each semester. So the first point basically says that to form study groups. Now, what I basically mean by study group is a group of 3 to 5 people in which you'll basically be discussing various things regarding your academics. And in fact, it won't just be limited to your academics. Like, it won't just be for academics, but you would be friends with those guys as well. So in case you have some doubts in some subjects or something, in that case, you'll find it easy to
I think connection was lost.
Maybe he'll come back in 5 to 10 seconds. होता है कभी कभी.
So Swapnil, you can continue till then, I guess.
हाँ, तब तक I can continue.
Screen share कर
Screen share. Actually, I'll have to open the slides. मैंने खोली नहीं है यार. I'll just read it out. Abhi Ahan will come back and he'll share the slides with you. So, like the first point was form study groups. So, as you all know, it's an online semester. So, basically, the interaction you have had is like an all-time low for freshers. Like हम लोग तो बहुत आपस में ऐसे करते थे बात तो we really made some good friends. So we basically used to study together. We used to solve each other's doubts and tips as well. एक दूसरे से share कर देते थे. तो like that was really helpful. So it's an online semester. So the major problem you will face is making these good friends. So that's really up to you. वो तुम्हें करना होगा. Like keep making friends और एक study group बना लो और उसमें like study together. कोई भी doubt हो तो फिर just ask your friends and just keep studying as a group. So you will just not lose motivation throughout the online semester because without your peers in front of you, you lose motivation very easily. That's what I have experienced from study groups. The second point was don't stress out too soon. Like Ahan, is he back? तो should I continue or you can take over then?
हाँ ठीक है तो बेसिकली देखो बात ये कि 2 सेमेस्टर में तुम्हारी you'll be classes in 2 semesters and it's not going to be a short race, right? So 2 semesters is quite a long time. So in that sense, even if you have a few bad quizzes, you'll have plenty of time to make up, right? So in case you have 1 or 2 bad quizzes, you shouldn't get demoralized or anything. And in fact, what happens with many students is that if you're not able to do well and they simply stop working hard, and that would also limit sort of the field of students with whom you are competing. So even if you just stay in the race for the entire 2 semester, and even if you just hang in there and you keep working hard, you gain advantage over loads of students. So in case you have some bad papers, just make sure you learn from your mistakes, right? You learn from your mistakes, keep working hard, and just be in there, just hang in there and don't lose hope, right? So that's something that you should like. I was hearing a lot of freshers who didn't have good MA 101 quiz 1 and even in they didn't really want to then work hard and they lost hope or something. So just make sure you don't do such things. Stay in there, keep hope. Like I would speak about myself in the first semester. My first quiz result wasn't good, but like I was still able to, make up and do well. I would also just like to add to the first point. So, like, uh, in the study group that you have, try to help each other as much as you can. Don't within your group. Uh, all the competition should be restricted to outside your group, and it should be your group working as one unit and then fighting against everyone else outside. Right? Try to help each other as much as possible, and in case say you find some good source or something for some, right, then make sure to share those sources and don't sort of be selfish and keep it right. So like branch change. What? Hello.
Hello, you are audible.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So branching will generally be a group effort and not just an individual effort. So, you need to make sure that you work as a group, you work together, and then definitely all of you, all of the people in the group will get good results. So, for the third point, it's a very basic point, right? Like to add, yeah. So, the third point is also a very basic point. So, like basically, when you have subjective paper, I don't think you're having subjective papers as such, but you're having lab reports and stuff, right? Lab reports and sheets. So, at times you won't really be knowing why your marks have been cut. So, just make sure that you write a mail to your instructor and just ask him the reason why those marks have been reduced, right? So, so or otherwise, you'll basically from them, and you'll be able to make the corrections in subsequent sessions. And when I speak about writing mails, you should also ensure that you write mails in a very humble and polite manner, right? Don't be rude. You won't be getting
I think audible नहीं है आहान.
you won't really get writing rude mails or anything, or by insulting the professor or something in a mail, right? So be safe. Just write simple, polite, humble mails, and yeah, the professor would only be willing to help you. I think that's it from my side. Would anyone like to add something here?
I'd like to just extend a few points out of this from a personal experience of mine. So we had a course in our second sem named CS 101. You guys will also have the same course. And what happened in that course was we gave our midsems, and the answer sheets was not returned to anybody, and none of the students got their answer key back. So our group, we had a group of 6 people, I think, and all of us are branch changes right now. I think 4 of us are in CS and 1 is MNC. One changed to EC. All of us are all of us changed our branches. So we wrote a separate mails to the professor, we want to know our mistakes. So can you return our answer sheets? And they returned. And it's not like that. If it is not returned to anybody, then you'll think that okay, so if it's not returned to anybody, then why should I write the mail? Or so it's your right to know where your marks have been cut. So you can ask if the professor says no, then it's okay, but you should ask. And obviously there were some mistakes, so we sent a paper for correction. And in my case, out of 50, I think, or out of 60 was, and 7 marks got increased. And 7 marks is a whole lot of marks. I think you guys would have figured that out by now. 7 marks got increased just by asking for the paper and pointing it out that this answer is correct. I request you to kindly reconsider. So if you guys do this much, it takes slightly extra effort, but if the answer is correct, you will increase your marks. So I think that you should do this. It's really nice. Okay, so I just wanted to state this.
And I'd also like to add something to the last point regarding writing emails to the professors, TAs. I think some of you may have some good relationships with your coaching teachers because you have studied under them for more than 2 years. तो like उनसे friends की तरह I think बात शायद करते होगे. So it's not the case here. So you really have to be formal while writing emails or messages, or even if you sometimes wish to call the professors or TAs for some reason, you really need to be professional. Like formal letters तो पढ़े ही होंगे, तो kind of like that थोड़ा सा regards वगैरह I request you kind of. So use these words, like don't write casual mails to the professors and don't spam them as well. Like छोटी छोटी बातों के लिए मेल उनको नहीं लिखना है. It will really give a whole bad impression both for you and your batch as well, entire batch as well. So that may have some bad repercussions. So just keep this in mind.
So I think we can move to the second slide now.
Sure.
And
Sure. So we'll get started with the individual subjects now. So we all know that Adha semester is done. So we'll mainly focus on the post-mid-sem parts. So the first subject that we'll cover is MA 101. So I'm sure not too many people will say that MA 101 is their favorite course. So it's the same case every year. So I don't really know if it's true, but a good majority of people say that MA 101 is the toughest course that we'll face in the entire first year, like the first sem and second sem combined. So it's quite natural to score somewhat less marks. Like if we talk about the cutoffs for grades for the previous years as well. So like the cutoffs for individual grades are really lower for MA 101 as compared to other scoring subjects like physics or chemistry. So yeah, the first thing is the quizzes will be tough and your marks will probably not be as good as you expect. So really for this subject especially, don't lose your heart. So moving on to the next points. So in our time, what the pattern of the paper was, we had subjective questions. So I don't know if MCQ solve करना is better than subjective questions. Like दोनों के थोड़े pros and cons हैं. लेकिन subjective questions में we had this one thing कि if we even if we get the final answer wrong, we can get some marks, some partial marks for our steps and all. So it's not the same case here if you have multiple choice questions. And I've heard that partial marking bhi nahi hai, like 4 correct or you have marked 3, so you'll get 75% of the marks. Aisa bhi nahi hai tumhara. So the most important thing is, even if you attempt less questions in your MA 101, just make sure ki you keep as close as 100% accuracy on them at least. I don't know if many of you may have given this or not. Like तुमने FITG का अगर AITS kind of दिया हो, तो it was kind of the same thing. मतलब it really had questions that were far above the usual advanced and mains level. So the key to securing good ranks in those exams was attempt less questions questions which you attempt, be as close to possible, like full 100% accuracy. So this was the first point. The second point, the resources for MA 101. So like the epsilon delta part is over, thankfully. So now you'll move on to vectors. So vectors, you have studied quite a bit about vectors in your JE days as well. So uh, you will find it interesting really, as compared to this epsilon delta thing. So regarding vectors, it's really all about visualization. तो vectors के लिए you really don't have to do rectification of anything. मतलब formulas, just keep them in mind, और उसके बाद like seriously you will enjoy it. So I really don't need to say much about that. लेकिन there are a few things that you should keep in mind अभी vectors के लिए. What you'll notice is that in the first 3 or 4 lectures, you'll see that you know literally everything. Like it will basically be a recap of your JE stuff. लेकिन the new stuff will come up very quickly. So just don't lose track of the lectures, or you'll have that in your छूट जाएगा थोड़ा. तो what I was saying is कि इसमें many a times you will feel that you have seen the same formula 2 or 3 times. Like you will see a formula in lecture, then after 2-3 lectures again the professor will teach another formula. You will feel that it is the same formula, but if you really figure out the differences between the formulas, you will find out that there are some differences actually. Like the previous formula might be in parametric representations of line, another formula might be in some other form, or there might be some minute differences. So just look after them. और उसके बाद again there are not a lot of formulas, but there are really a lot of tiny variations in the formulas. So you will really need to keep your basics strong for this particular topic. And one more thing, like इस बार most of your formulas, they'll be like very, if you just read them out, they'll be very generic. Like they'll just be given in the usual algebraic form. So like del f by del x plus del y by del z, kind of like these things. So if you just read them, like if you don't solve questions on them, you'll feel that you have understood the formulas. Lekin when you'll go to the actual exam, then you will get really confused कि इसको actually apply कैसे करना है. So like take any formulas, plug any value of f, say sin x plus sin y, kind of something like this, and just derive the thing that is required in the formula. So you'll really get a feel about the formula. उसके बाद तो the vectors part will be interesting, and not only interesting, it will also be very important for you in future courses as well. Like in the next semester, you are going to have MA 102, MA 102, PH 102, and even some courses in second semester as well, depending on your branches. So yeah, this vectors thing is really important. So make sure that you understand this. And the level of questions, like I know most of you like to solve calculation type questions, like we used to do until this epsilon and delta. So the questions will be like there will be some proof type questions, but now you will face more of the calculation type questions that you are familiar with. So you can expect your marks to increase somewhat. So I think that was all from my side. और कुछ किसी को ऐड करना हो तो
I was just swiftly going through the chats, and I just want to address a few points which I found out that students are having a doubt about. See, book is only a second route. If you really can't understand, if you really have a problem in the concepts and you are not able to understand with slides, see, if you are not able to understand with slides, the first step is go to your friends. Like we said about the study circle. So as of if I talk about myself, the there were definitely some concepts which I found out to be difficult, both in the first and second sem. So I never referred the book directly. I went to my friends and asked them, like, if they had understood the topic, then I would tell them, like, can you please explain me? So that's much better way, because in person, if you talk one-to-one with some friend, you can ask doubts. If you can ask doubts, and it's really flexible. Like, you can ask whatever doubt you want, and the reply would be according to your doubt. In book, that's not available. And secondly, if you do refer only the part that you do not understand, because book is see, there are 7 subjects, and if in every subject you start reading the book, then it will be very difficult for you. There is not that much time, and especially in online semester, you have. I was talking to 1 or 2 freshers, and you have a quiz on 9th, so you really don't have that much time. Like, you will complete the whole entire book. The notes are enough. One person asked that, is notes enough? The notes are definitely enough. Almost 90%, almost 100 or 99, above 90% of us only read. I think personally, I did not go through any book. I just used my notes, and that was enough. Read the notes, solve tutorials, and before the exam, solve previous year. It's too generic, so we did not include it in every slide, but this is the flow that you should follow. Read the notes, then solve the tutorial, and before the examination, solve time previous year. Like, you set a 3-hour clock, and then you simulate the actual examination in your home during practice. That really helps. It brings down your calculation mistakes, and during these times, objective papers are there. Calculation mistake is a very big part of your CPI. So it will reduce your calculation mistake. It will tell you that in which part you do more calculation mistakes, and you can minimize that in examination. So I will suggest that solve real-time question papers. That will help much. That will really help you. Okay, that was it from my side.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Like, it is quite a general thing, but I just remembered about it now. I actually addressed this in the CSE orientation, if the UCSE guys may remember. Like, if we just recall how our school days were, what was the examination type there? So, in most of the cases, you may say that जो teacher पढ़ाते थे 90% वही आता था seriously. So there was a lot of rote learning and dependency on whatever the teacher has taught us. That was the primary material. Now if you go to the coaching days, तो coaching days में really कुछ rote learning का था नहीं except IOC of course. So you really used to refer a lot of books, Sangage and Aryan, all these things. So just understand that this college phase, this is like kind of a middle ground between those two. Like, you should not totally depend, like you should not totally expect that 100% teacher के slide से ही आएगा, लेकिन you can be sure that about 70 to 80% इतना तो आएगा ही. Actually slide से almost complete ही आएगा, and actually past year papers and tutorials and all, they'll comprise a good portion of your actual question paper as well. So like, just remember this, it's kind of in the middle between your school days and your coaching days regarding the examination pattern. But that's all I think.
Now should
Hello
I
guys.
explain?
So I'm some of you might have joined late, so I will tell that if you have any doubts, just drop it in the chat box. We will try to cover it along the lectures, or if there are a lot of doubts, then we will try to cover at the end of the lecture. So if you have any doubt, drop it in the chat box. So Snigdha.
Yeah, should I switch to the next slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, so am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, hello everyone, good evening. Myself Pradnesh. So, I hope you all will be enjoying your online semester in the IIT. So, let's move to the E101 course. Frankly speaking, this E101 course is not so difficult. Like, so the first and the most important thing is try to give 100%, to the lecture slides and the tutorials. Like I would say, don't miss out anything from them. Try to solve each and every problem from the tutorial thoroughly and try to get your doubts clear as soon as possible. Now, apart from these lecture slides and tutorials, what do I gonna say is have a regular practice on the concepts that you have been taught, and don't do like this, like start studying 2 to 3 days before the exam. I would not recommend that for sure. So by regular practice, I also don't mean like you study every day for the same subject and 2 to 3 hours. I would say like revise the concepts at least on the day on which you were taught and try practicing the problems in between from the reference books which you have been awarded. The practice also has an added advantage that you get used to the calculator and you won't be stuck for any functionality during the exam. Like there are some cases where this might happen, like storing the variables in the calculator and also some more things. So, and also don't make calculation mistakes. I have seen like the marks have been cut due to the calculation mistakes and the question was also easy, and this may sometimes cost a lot, and in the online sim it may cost even more. So you all be knowing about it. So be careful about that. Also, do not forget to write the units in front of the answer, as they may not consider giving the partial marks for it. They may cut the entire marks, 2 to 3 marks. Now, one more important thing which is important for this course is the rounding of part. Like of the questions, you are asked to round up the answer to as far as three decimal places. So for rounding off, I would suggest rather than suggesting, I would tell you to first calculate the answer without rounding it off, like without doing much rounding, and once you get the final answer, then do the final rounding and write it down. Sometimes the error becomes large if we do the rounding in between. So first calculate the answer by doing minimum roundings, and then once you got the final answer, then round the answer to the 3 decimal places or whichever is asked. So I think this is it for this course. This must be enough, I guess, from my side. Anyone else?
I would like to add on the point of calculation mistake. I was going through the chat and some of you had doubt what to do about the calculation mistake. So for my case, I was very bad at calculation from the very beginning. In the first quiz, in EE 101, it was basically of diode. You guys are more recent, so it's something about diode, and it's the first quiz is really easy. Like you it's nothing. You really don't have to do anything. Just put the voltages right and you get the right answer. But even in that, out of 10, my marks were 50%. And there were 2 questions, 5 marks, and a whole 5-mark question went just because of calculation mistake, and the marks distribution was like 400 people got, like 300 people got 10, and a very few
9 or 10 marks, right?
9 or 10, yeah, in that range. 300 to 400 people got 9 and 10, and I really got depressed, very depressed at that time, because I was aiming for a branch change, and for a branch change you need to be in top 10 in the institute, and you can't afford to be ranked 200 or 300, and then so the first slide and in that points, it's very important. Do not lose your confidence. One quiz does not decide anything. The period is quite long. To state the calculation mistake error, in my case, what the error was, like in JEE preparation, in 2 years, we solve a lot of questions. And in coaching also, there is a prevalent practice that we are forced to do our questions in a limited space. There is a practice that students divide the page in 2 and then try to save space and write small. So in my case, that was the problem. Like I had a very bad habit of writing small and doing all the calculation in a very small space. So if that's the problem, then try to write big, because there is no limit of pages you are in your home, so you can use as much page as you want. So do not be calm, take as much space as you want. Remember that if you solve 3 questions and if 3 questions are in the paper and 2 are right, and if you can't solve the one, then it's okay. But if 2 are wrong and only 1 is right, so maybe there is negative marking also, then that will bring you further down. So accuracy is very important. Be calm during the paper, and if the space is the problem, which is with many people due to JEE preparation, use sufficient space. I think that's it, which I faced for calculation with fixed. Moving on to the next slide. Next slide. I would be taking up the next slide. Can slide? Yeah. PH 101. So yes, the second part of PH 101, relativity is there in the second part of PH 101, and it's a very interesting topic because it creates a lot of difference between students. It creates a polarity in the whole batch. Some people find it easy, and some people really find it very difficult. And it's really good for branch changes because you need polarity, right? If all the people are scoring the same thing, then how can you distinguish between people? So yes, the average marks distribution, there's nothing like marks distribution. Average marks in our time was if you score above 80 in any subject, 10 was guaranteed. But 10 is not given through marks, 10 is given through ranking. So if you are among the top 50 students in the institute, then 10 is granted to you. So having said that, do your best, because in your hand, what's the thing? You can only do the best. You cannot judge, you cannot control other people's grades, right? You can only do what's in your hand. So do your best. Now coming to the subject, in relativity, in my what I have observed, the main problem that people face is they mix up frames. In relative, from 1st to 12th, from 9 to 12, when we studied physics, time was constant and length was also constant in all the frames. But in relativity, this is not the case. Time varies in different frames. Time is different for different frames. Length also contracts according to different frames. So the first advice is read the question very carefully, that the data that is given with respect to what frame the data is given. People try to read the question quickly in order to save the time, and they read the data correctly, but they read the frame wrong. So they solve the entire question, but since they solved it in wrong frame, the entire thing goes waste. So read the question very carefully, specifically the data and the frame. What data is given and with respect to what frame is given. And don't mix frames. So that's the first point. The second point is, especially in this course, TUT and previous year is very important. TUT and previous year is very important in all the courses. It's, in my opinion, the only requisite if you want a branch change, apart from books, if you get a particular different difficulty in any subject. But TUTs and previous year are sufficient. But in this case, it's really very important because direct questions come from TUTs and previous years. And if not direct, then very similar to direct, like if 3 objects are given and if A is moving with respect to B, B is moving with respect to C, and something is given with respect to A and question is asking with respect to C. Direct questions, such a question will be given in TUT. You can see from the previous year, it happened before me, it happened during my time, and I'm sure that it will happen during this year also. Same dicto questions will come from the TUT, and if not dicto, very, very similar. Like you can tell it's similar because professor also knows, right? The topic is conceptual and it's really difficult, so he can't afford that 400 or 500 people out of 800 will fail. He has to pass people, right? So questions directly come from TUT. Do the TUTs. Thirdly, memorize the formula. You can derive the formula in the examination if you want, but the best case for you is memorize the formula and memorize it with frame. And when you are memorizing it and when you are studying PH 101, one of the advantages which I faced is I had a very nice study group. So I used to discuss it out with my friends. Like if a formula is given, like A frame is stationary and B is moving with like half speed of light or something, I would go to my friend's room and start to discuss like what would B frame see with respect to A, what would A frame see with respect to B, and we would have these kinds of discussion. So it really helps. So study group, as we suggested in point of slide A, study groups are really important. And study group, it's not, I mean, you are in college, so study group does not only mean study. You can have fun with those guys, and honestly, friendship develops through fun. You can play, you can form a study group in Discord, and when you are free, you can play amongst yourself. It will strengthen your friendship. And when exams come nearby, then you can discuss, you can have voice discussions on. So it really helps. And that's it for PH 101. Do not mix frames. Memorize the formula with frames. and solve tunes previous years and discuss with your friends. That's it. And if you do this, it will create a huge polarity between you and those people who do not follow this or mix frames, and this will help you a lot. So that was it for from my side.
Yeah. One more thing I'd like to add, that don't try to do very deep into the theory, right? So, in this topic especially, you'll have things that you won't be able to understand, right? Like you won't really be able to understand how E equals to mc square came, or you won't be able to understand how the speed of light is constant for all frames. So don't really try to go deep into books and go searching for the reason behind that. Just take things to quite some extent, take things as they are, and only understand things to the extent that you're supposed to understand them, right? Basically, how you'll work between frames. Don't go very deep into things. Learn as much as like understand as much as you're supposed to, and just memorize and learn the rest.
I'd also like to add something. So you will study actually two things right now in your post midsem syllabus. The first part, or I don't know if it was the second. So basically, you will learn uh, relativity. So about relativity, just make a list of all its formulas, or don't make a list, but whatever formula you encounter, just try to imagine the extreme cases, like if the velocity of the frame, the velocity of the object, the energy, like u, v and e, all these variables are there. Just try to imagine what happens if u approaches infinity, v approaches infinity, or zero if v is equal to u. So once you do this, you will get a little more feel of the formulas, and you'll notice the cases when the relativity stuff merges into your normal Newtonian stuff. So this can increase your understanding of the formulas as well. And regarding the second part, what was it? Quantum mechanics, yeah. So personally, my experience was that I found relativity to be quite interesting, because I always wanted to learn how this relativity stuff works. So, but the quantum mechanics thing, it really I wasn't that intuitive. I really wasn't comfortable with the waves part in the JE times as well. So quantum mechanics is quite a bit dependent on the waves and stuff, and you will really see some complicated formulas for the first time as well, like the Fourier expansions, I think. So don't get intimidated by those formulas. Just see some questions on them, like what kinds of questions come, some examples as well on those tough formulas. You will really understand the application easily. So just remember this as well.
Yeah, and also like I like to add that in physical chemistry you might have studied like quantum mechanics or mostly the particle in a box kind of problem. So that will be like common. Mostly quantum mechanics, half of it already have been studied in physical chemistry. So if you are remembering those formulas, that will also help here. So like half of the work is already done, kind of thing. That's it.
And next slide. Yeah, so for CH101, again, as I said, for try to stay limited to the slides itself, and don't really go into any books, right? Because the scope of books is going to be much broader than what the course actually wants to teach, right? So try to understand what's given in the slides. Ask your friends, and don't just directly move to a book or anything, right? So just try to understand the slides, solve the tutes, and as you would have seen in mainly inorganic and physical chemistry, you'll get quite a few questions which are quite similar to what you would see in the previous year papers. So make sure you solve them well and you understand those questions well, and that would really help you in scoring well in your actual exam, right? And then Then the third point, just make sure you read the questions well. Like you could have questions where it says that if you have true false questions, then the question would explicitly mention that writing TRF won't be sufficient. So just make sure you read that well and you write completely true or false. Or as I've given in the slides, if you have to write something in ascending order and say you write 3 greater than 2 greater than 1, that's not ascending order, right? You have written that right statement, a correct statement, but it's not in ascending order, it's in descending order. So it's quite possible that you won't be awarded marks for that, right? So just try to do the slides as well, understand everything in the slides. You don't need to understand anything outside the slides. Make sure you do everything well within the domain of the course, and don't go searching for books, right? Because again, books are not just meant for CS 101. They are meant for people doing, I think, much greater research or something in chemistry. So don't get into those things. You find it quite difficult to find your part in a book. Try to understand the slides. If you don't understand it, ask your friends, ask your professors. But going to a book shouldn't really be your first option. And then if you just solve questions well, I think you'll be able to score good marks. Anything to add here?
I just wanted to add, some people are saying that can you please suggest a YouTube channel for inorganic chemistry? See, YouTube channel is not at all necessary. I think Akshay sir is teaching you, right? Akshay sir is that teacher, or teacher has changed?
Yeah,
It's Akshay sir only, I guess.
So Akshay sir, I think that his notes is quite okay. I felt it. If you can ask other people also, study his notes. Don't if you go for other channel, because his questions are from his notes. At least from in our year, all the questions he gave to us were from his notes. They were directly picked up from the slides. The only thing people lost marks is in he asked let's say he asked something in ascending order, and people used to write it in descending order. So that thing was very strict with him. Otherwise, I think that his notes are enough. We miss some classes. Do not miss classes, and I would suggest that I would suggest that his notes are enough. I do not know any YouTube channel as such, so I would not give you wrong advice. If anyone else wants to comment on this, they can.
Okay, so I think we are good to go to the next slide.
Yeah. So hello everyone, I'm Snigdha and I'll be briefing you about C101. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind is that it's not a very difficult course. It's not very difficult to score very good in C101, but do not underestimate the scores. Do not take the scores very lightly, because this can create a very big difference in your CPI. Like if you score good in this course, then you can get an edge over others, and you can have a very good improvement in your CPI if you score really good in this course. So one of the key points that you need to keep in mind is go through the slides carefully and read the slides thoroughly a day before your lab, and try to focus on all the topics that are taught to you by the professor that are going to be coming in your lab. And yeah, just doing this would help you understand the question that is asked during the lab. Now, how to prepare for the lab? For the lab sheets, there are 3 things that you need to keep in mind. First is accuracy, then neatness, and then sharpness. Accuracy, you have to be very accurate and precise with whatever figure you have to draw. Like you have to mention all the units and scales. For example, if you're told to write a particular measurement in a particular order, in a particular way, or you have to write using a particular arrow, and if you use some other way to write it, then it will lead to deduction of your marks. So follow everything that's taught to you during the lecture slides, because if you don't follow it, then your marks will get deducted. Second, you have to be very neat while drawing, you don't use your eraser too many times, because the HB pencil, it creates marks in your white sheet. If you use it too many times, which is visible and which is noticeable, which reduces the neatness, which makes your white sheet hazy and blurry, and there are some blackness that comes in the paper, which reduces your marks. So try to erase that extra blackness, which for my case, it leads to increase of my marks by 7 to 10. My marks were increased. Another thing is that while using the HB pencil, make sure that it is sharp and it's sharpened, and try to draw it as neatly as possible, so that when your TAs or your instructors evaluate, then they get to know whatever you have drawn is correct or not. Also, the next important thing is try to understand how the tutorial questions are being solved, because in the final exams, whatever you do during the labs, exact similar questions come with a little variation. Thirdly, whenever you get your CE sheets evaluated, the first thing that you have to do is ask your TAs and professors, write mail to them or your instructors, and ask them where your marks are being deducted and why your marks are being deducted. Because what most people do in this course is that they do a mistake in their first lab, and they keep on repeating the same mistakes in their next lab, and they don't get to know why the marks are being deducted, and those marks get piled up. So the mistakes are getting repeated. So try to solve your mistakes then and there when your lab sheets get evaluated, and try not to repeat the same mistake again and again. This will lead to improvement of your marks, and these are the small tactics that you need to follow, because otherwise it's an easy course, and these are the small areas where you can improve so that your marks get increased. Lastly, there's a theory quiz, a semester quiz that was taken for us at the end of the semester, which has some MCQs or fill in the blanks, or true and false, or one word question answers. For you need to just go through the lecture slides, and there are very minute details and very small details and very minor details that they ask in the questions, that if you just skim through the lecture slides, then you might ignore. So while reading the lecture slides, don't just skim through them, read every detail, write it somewhere or note it somewhere or memorize it, because those small details come in the exam, which otherwise you'll forget. So try reading them thoroughly and intently, and this is enough for scoring good in the theory quiz. And of course, the theory quiz doesn't account for as much weightage or percentage as the lab sheets account for, but still, it's very easy to score in theory quiz. And lastly, I know that it's not a very easy course, and I know that in the starting, people face a lot of problems because it's a very new course, and they get disheartened and they get demotivated because they're not able to score good. But as you go through every lab, you realize that there is a pattern of mistakes that you continue to follow, and your TAs or your instructors want you to do the sheets in a particular way, and gradually you realize how to do them, and eventually you start getting better, and eventually you start improving your score. So it's not a very difficult course, and it is easy to score very good, and it's easy to get a 10 or an AS in this course. So try working hard for it. Yeah. If anybody else would like to add something.
Yes, I wanted to add one particular thing. Someone asked that how are the grades given in CE? See, the grades in our time was, most of us got 10 or 9. I do not know anybody who got 8. I think most of us got 10 or 9. The grading is relatively chilled out. Many of 10 is allotted to very few people. Majority of the section gets 9, and some get 8, and very few get 7. Grading was like this in our time. Just make sure that you draw the line straight, and the demarcation lines, like the projection lines, I think it was called projection lines. Marks are given for projection lines, and a considerable amount of marks are given for projection lines. So those are important. Draw them carefully. and I think it will be enough. Just go through the slides and try to be neat. I think that's it for CE.
One more thing that I'll say that give the course its due respect, right? When I first started the course, I thought it's quite a useless course meant for students. It's a useless drawing course meant for maybe students of class 5 or 6, But it's not really that way. It's quite. It's not that simple. Like you'll be scoring marks, but as such, if you actually want to visualize, how you are actually depicting the figures that you're supposed to show, then it's not all that simple. But having said that, with the help of the instructors and all, you generally score good marks. But if you want to seriously do everything on your own and you want to depict each figure on your own in the correct manner, then it won't be so easy to visualize, how exactly the views are turning out. So give the course some respect. It's not just a drawing course or anything. It's a good course, a tough course in some ways, not from a scoring point of view, but otherwise. And just take the course seriously. Although again, as Vinayak said, grade wise, you're probably not going to get a very low grade.
Yeah, try to give it a proper time like you give for every other course, because if you think that you're gonna study just a day before the exam and you'll be able to score good because it's just a drawing course, then you're very wrong, because you cannot. So try to read the lecture slides from the very beginning of the course and try to keep up with the course. Don't just take this course very lightly.
Yeah. We'll move ahead then. Yeah, we'll move ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be dealing with the lab sections. So basically, lab courses are 3 credit courses, and here it is quite easy to score a 10, or even if you work a little harder, you can get easily a 9 or 9 plus kind of 9 or 10 you can get easily. So among all the lab courses that you have, the toughest one that anyone will tell you, and personally I think so, that PS110 is one of the is the toughest lab work that I have done actually. So basically, the thing that made it tough was taking the observations and doing all the calculations in the given time. So basically, now since you people are doing that in an online mode, so as I have come to know that you people are given data points and you just have to like do the calculations and make the graph and such things. So like we could get some marks on the observations, but for you people, it's like quite now tough to get marks there. So basically, all of your those marks have been transferred to calculations and kind of like writing what are the sources of errors. So mostly people will lose marks in the calculations for lab work, and basically they lose marks on the error calculation. So most of the people do not. So most of the people don't know how to calculate the error in a particular result. So go through the previous year reports to figure out how error calculation is done. Okay. So and basically the next thing that constitutes the marks is the Viva. So for Viva, you may go through for Viva and even for the quiz we have for last lab exam before the lab exam. So for that, lab manual is enough, I guess. So you can refer the lab manual for Viva or for quiz. Generally, the quiz that we had at the end was quite tough. It had 18 questions with multi-correct, and it was like quite like JE. Questions were quite tough, and questions were basically some questions were theoretical, mostly were like the calculation based, which were based on the formulas that are present in the manual, that working formula for each experiment. So try to learn the formulas and like go through the experiments well. Okay, for PS 110 to score a 10 is quite tough, and because it's also there that for all the lab courses, the grading that is done is relative to your lab group. So whatever grade you are given based on your lab group. So it's like 40 people maybe that will be getting some like two, three, or maybe like at least seven maybe will be given 10, rest will be given nine, and then eight. For physics to create a difference, for in physics practical to create a difference, basically you have to do well in your vivas, and doing the calculations right is completely in your hand right now, because you don't have to take the observations like data points for plotting every data point in the graph properly. And also, I'd like to add that for doing some calculations like the least square fitting, calculator, that scientific calculator you must have been told to buy, like FX991 ES something. So that is very helpful. Explore the calculator. You can do least square fitting very easily using your calculator, like finding sigma xi yi, sigma xi square, and something. All those calculations can be done easily with your calculator. So try to explore the calculator as much as possible. And it is like as I keep on saying that it is very easy to score like 10 in other lab courses, but in physics it's like you can get 9, but to get 10 you have to strive a little harder. Okay. I guess so. That is, yeah. Lab. Follow the lab manual for Viva. If you read the lab manual theory, and it has some questions also. So if you do that, I think that will be sufficient for like Viva. And for final quiz, you have to go through every experiment and the formulas that have been given. Rest, I think, yeah. Okay, we have covered our points, so we can change to next slide for mechanical. Yeah. So for mechanical, today only I asked one of the freshers what is what is going on in the lab. So basically, I have been told that you are given two posters, two projects and one poster, and rest whatever may be. So basically, that reports that we made. So make reports properly and mention things. Don't keep very generic precautions. Try to keep some like sensible precautions there. And for us, it was like Viva was taken after every workshop was done. So for that, we were told to follow a book called Hazarika book, something based for mechanical workshop. So in that book, all the tool names are given and all the procedure has been dealt with in great detail. Try to follow. You can easily answer all the Viva questions and the quiz that might be there for you. So all those questions can be dealt with. Like you can choose any topic to make a poster. It like we made posters like building. I made on like tools used in fitting job, and like you can mention like that anything and like some figures and something, and it will make your poster. For like project, as I have seen that you have been one of the projects that have been given is like um, you have to make a casting. You have to cast a light, low melting point material like wax. So it is not that tough, according to me, but like it will be easy to score marks there if you will ask your TA. He will guide you generally to the project what you have to do there. And I think mechanical workshop is one of those workshops where you will be easily given 10. Those people are ready to give everyone 10, and it is one of the easiest lab that you may come across. And since you are not doing those workshops, that really lightens your burden. Okay, so it really removes the burden of you from for doing the workshop. Otherwise, those practicals like doing the foundry, fitting job, all those carpentry, they are quite tough to do in the workshop. So anyway, this is a easy place to score 10. And I think we can go to next, like chemistry. I think we have covered all the points. So yeah, for chemistry, the same thing that we have discussed for previous labs, like you have to make neat reports. They will also ask you to like mention theory of the experiment, to do some research on the net and to paste like what reaction is going on, what is the reaction mechanism, maybe what is the reaction mechanism, how do we calculate the pK of an acid during titration, maybe, and plotting a particular graph. So to know where is the half neutralization point. So such things are only contributing right now. Otherwise, for observations, we were given half of the marks in the lab. But for you, I think that is not the criteria now. That will not be the criteria. And we also had a quiz. So for quizzes, I guess you have to, like, for every experiment you have to remember the name of the compound and what apparatus we used in the labs. So what apparatus are there, like burette, pipette, maybe flask, whatever flask may be there, test tubes, these kind of things, test tube holder, maybe such things were only like asked. And since for every lab group it was like quite different quiz, so some calculative questions were also there, easy only, not that tough. So I think yeah, it's also easy in chemistry practical to score a 10. It's not very difficult. It's very easy. According to me, it's quite easy to score a 10 here. So calculations are important in everywhere. Calculations are important. Try to give answer to 3 decimal places. Taking care of units. And in physics, I'll suggest that for writing error, be extra careful while calculating the error values in the final results. And for every practical, there will be a quiz. Some will be easy. For chemistry and for mechanical, I think it will be easy, and for physics, it will be quite tough. It was tough for us at least. So I think with this, I guess we have completed our lab part. Anyone would like to add here?
We have a last slide, I think, where we have combined the errors made by students.
But only in the lab portion, thank you.
Okay. So in the lab portion, anyone would like to add anything? I think it's enough for the lab.
Yeah, you can post your doubts in the chats. We will take note of that.
Yeah, you can post the doubts in the chat. We'll cater to it in the end. So, a final remarks. This slide is basically not a suggestion, but it's like the mistakes that we personally made, and if we had to do it all over again, we would try to improve upon these points. So the first thing is lack of sleep. People in college life generally take sleep for granted, and before they start studying one night before the examination, and they lack on sleep, and this leads to calculation mistakes. And since in your time calculation mistakes is a thing that you cannot afford, please do not sleep less, get adequate amount of sleep, because this is something that I have added to the slide. I personally regret sleeping less in the second semester. In the second semester, I developed a very bad habit of in the starting of the second semester, I developed a bad habit of studying in the end. So I used to study in the end, and I used to start one night before the examination and used to pull an all-nighter and then sleep very less and go to the examination. It increased my calculation mistakes by a lot. You cannot even imagine to what extent it will do harm to you. You will start reading the questions wrong. You'll start picking up the data wrong. Do not sleep less. That's the key point. Moving on to the second point, manage club wisely. joining clubs is not bad. In fact, joining clubs is recommended because clubs develop to your overall development. But manage your club time wisely and do only that much which you are feeling comfortable in. Do not go in all the clubs, and if you're not comfortable, then it's okay to drop. If you're comfortable, then okay, you can continue, but you should manage your time wisely. That's the key point. Secondly, thirdly, like Ahan said, people generally take drawing course very lightly, and it's a very easy course. And if you take it seriously, you can score good marks. Similarly, people take the labs very lightly. It is a 3 credit course, and end up scoring 8 and 9. And I think that's really bad because you can, if you are aiming for branch change, you cannot afford to miss out on any course, because each and every course contributes little, and through that little contributions you make up your CPI. So do not take labs lightly. Do it with the seriousness that you give to any other course, because it will contribute to your CPI. And if I was talking to some of you, and people generally tend to become nervous because we have a school habit of scoring 89. I also had, like, after seeing my 50% grades in sem 1, I got depressed, really depressed. So in college, people generally don't score that high, and if your CPI is like not that high, even if it's not that high, do not get demotivated, because you have an entire second semester. You cannot, even after March, you would have finished by only 50% of the course. You have an entire second semester. So really do not give up. I have seen people who have scored less in one quiz or two, and they just gave up on, and in the second semester their performance even dropped. So keep striving hard, and eventually you will get there, because after second semester a lot of people drop their hopes and stop studying. So if you continue it, you will gain a very big advantage which you cannot see directly, but the advantage is there. So I would suggest that you should not give up. And few things I would like to add. Finally, I think I've said it before, but we have not included it in every slide. Tutorials and lecture notes are very important, and you should do them at all costs. You should attempt the previous year in time format, in stipulated time. If your examination is of 2 hours, then you should set a timer of 2 hours and start solving and analyze where you are making mistakes. These are the things that I did. One thing that I did personally from my side was I kept a track of marks that I was losing in every subject, and not to get demotivated by that, but just to have a track that you should know that, like in PH 101, okay, I have lost this much marks. So it develops in your consciousness that you tend to be more cautious about when you are solving questions, and it reduces your mistakes, because in the back of your head you know that, okay, see, like I have lost this much amount of marks till this point, so I cannot afford to lose more marks. So I would highly recommend that you keep a track of marks that you lost in each subject, and not to get depressed, just to keep a count of how much marks you lost. So I think that's it from my side, if any.
I guess, Swapnil, can you elaborate on the club? Many of them are asking about the number of clubs to join and all.
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of like this. Some people in the campus may suggest you to join a lot of clubs, and some of the people might tell you to not join any club at all. So the actual truth is that the clubs actually don't really interfere with your academics unless you don't manage your time well. So the key point actually is that it basically depends from person to person. Like some people may find it easy to manage their academics as well with other clubs, even 3 to 4 or more clubs. And some people may feel that they get distracted even if they join a few clubs. So it's totally up to you. But just remember this one thing, that in your first year especially, always your CPI, it should always be your number one priority. Like you should never compromise it for anything else, even clubs or fests like Techni, Shelter, Udgam. So just prioritize your CPI. After that, it's totally up to you. Like people join a lot of clubs, many people join them, some do not do. So it's totally a myth that if you join club, then you won't be able to secure good CPI. Like even I joined quite a lot of clubs in my first year. I am still a part of many clubs, like kind of 4 or 5, I think. But I think I can manage my time pretty well. Like I've been doing these kind of things from my school days, so that may be one of the reasons. So yeah, in the end, it totally depends on you. But I would recommend that you at least try joining some clubs, because the point is that in your coaching days especially, all you did the whole day was studying and studying. You basically, for lack of a better term, most of you really become bookworms. Even I did, so that's okay. But the thing about college is you don't really need to focus on your academics only. The college portion is just for 4 years. After that, you have your whole life ahead. You really can't do that well in the outside world if you really lack some personality, if I should say. So just interact with people, make some friends, and explore your interests. Like college is the best time. After that, you won't get these opportunities. Like we have all kinds of clubs for whatever interest you have. Probably we have a club for that. Once you leave college, you will maybe have to travel kilometers to find a club of like-minded people. So just try to join a few clubs. If it doesn't work out for you, then yeah, you are totally sure to reduce your time spent in them. So I think it was it.
I'll recommend joining at least one club, because now that you are starting online, you don't really have much ways of making friends, right? So I think that would be a good way. You'll get to interact with fellow freshers. If you join a club, you'll get to speak to people. So at least try to join one or two clubs. You'll make friends, and you'll be able to form a group or something. And it's obviously essential, to interact with people. Otherwise, just by yourself, it won't be possible to even learn. So yeah, at least start joining a few clubs. Maybe if you don't like it, you can back out, but you should at least try a few.
Yeah. Actually, one of the freshers asked how to avoid distractions in online sim. So it is kind of common query, I'm guessing at. So basically, if you form a peer group, so after that you can common goals, set targets like that you have to finish by end of some set deadline among yourselves that you have to complete. Okay, and doing so will help you to avoid distractions in online sim, because uh, when you see that your fellow peer is ahead of you in completing a deadline, you will have a sense of like kind of competition to complete it. Okay, and otherwise you'll feel like you may feel like kind of not up to the mark with your peers. Like you'll feel that you are lagging behind. So to avoid that kind of feeling, you'll have to kind of work hard. Okay, and just don't give up on your peer group once you fall behind, kind of. Okay, just try to cope up with the things, and I think it will be helpful in overcoming your distractions. Anyone would like to add?
I would like to add, someone asked that how to form a peer, and I think it's a prevalent doubt among the freshers. And I agree that it to find good friends in online semester, because friendship is something that you do not want a bad friend, right? You always want a good friend, and for to find a good friend, you should be good at yourself. Matlab, your heart should be pure. Then only you can find good friends. You cannot expect that you are bad. And so I hope that all of you are good. And to find good friends, I would recommend that don't start with study, because studying is not a very good point on which you can make friends. Friends are formed in leisure activities or during collectively chilling out. So I would recommend that all the freshers that are there, all of you can join Discord. And Discord is a very versatile platform. What people do in college is, like, even in the second year and third year, when we get bored or something like that, we go to Discord and we start playing some game like Among Us. Not to waste time, like 1 or 2 hours you keep on playing, but like an half an hour, 20 minutes game, or half an hour game once in a week or something like that, or in weekends when you're free, is okay. And I think that it's important also, because you form good friends by laughing together, right? You really don't form good friends by studying together, and you simply can't expect someone to solve your doubts just by asking him to, and you have never met him before, right? So I think that good friends you can form only by playing together, if I may say so. Form a group on Discord of all the freshers, form channels. You can play games, you can listen music together, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can play chess if you want. I play personally Among Us. I recommend it. And
Uh,
yes, you will slowly form good friends. It's a very gradual process. Do not expect anybody to be your good friend just like. It's a gradual process. Like, a trust develops over time. So to develop trust, you have to spend time with that person. So I would recommend that spend time with each other, try to understand each other, and do not make anybody your friend. That's also very important. How to choose your friend. I should not be speaking such basic things, but I think that it's important. How to choose your friend is a very important topic.
Yeah, you can start from a department. I'll suggest that search through your department for people like who are at least like-minded, have some common queries as you have, and then just start a chat. Maybe, or as Vinayak said, join a Discord group, make a Discord group for your branch, talk to people. So, like, talking is the only way in this online sim where you can interact. Okay. Otherwise, personally, I'll suggest that you do this. Otherwise, in this online sim, depression is kind of it will be common. Okay. So it is very easy to get depressed in this sim because, like, as I said, as I saw on Instagram also, many of the freshers were like kind of losing hope on getting even like a 6 out of 22. I saw that post, or maybe even some are not getting that much also. So it's not a very bad score per se. You will like it's all like relative. What is your score related to your like batchmate? It only depends on that. So to know even that, like what is your score relative to others, you need to have an interaction with your peers at least. Okay. So many of the freshers are, I think, not even interacting with the seniors. So at least go out on a limb and talk to some random maybe person who you feel that has some common queries or maybe common interest as you. Okay, so
In fact, even if you just randomly message someone, I don't really mind it,
yeah,
because
yeah, exactly.
everyone is in the same phase. Everyone is struggling to make friends or trying to make friends. So just if you find someone, just randomly message them, start speaking or something. That's going to help you. Don't be isolated. Be interacting, make friends. That will really help.
Just one example I needed to add, like someone stated that we do not have common, we do not know people of common branches or something like that. See, it's not necessary that you find people, or you need people of common branches to make friends. Like, yeah, even if you consider this live chat which is going on right now, if you find someone like-minded who is interested in your points, or like you both share the same point or interest, you can message them personally on, let's say, WhatsApp or something like that. This is my Discord channel, or like, you can message them. Don't be shy to message anybody, because just messaging anybody hi is not a crime. And I think that in an online semester, that's the only way you can make friends. and French is the only way you can survive online semester.
Okay, there is a
So it
theory that there is a freshers common group, but 256 लोगों का group time pass बन जाता है. So we are suggesting a shorter group, not a people, not more than 10 people group kind of thing. Okay, even five lesser the better,
See,
not
what
like
you
two
are
or
saying
three.
is ki in your common group, you can just ask like how many of you are
Yeah,
interested in a study group or something. Just take those people and form a group. You can just ask. You can make a different WhatsApp group in which people are interested in study.
And
Okay,
I
so can any one of you just tell the cutoffs of last year, branch change cutoffs? Many of them are interested in that. What were the cutoffs?
CSE
Rohan,
was around 9.55. I'm not entirely sure, but one of my friends got 9.53 and he didn't get CSE. And I think at 9.57 you were getting CSE. So something around 9.55 for CSE. MNC around 9.25.
9.
I'm not sure exactly what's the cutoff.
EC
ECE,
8.9, I guess.
yeah,
That's far as I
EC
know.
is 8.9, I guess.
Yeah,
triple E
so
around
one of you was
8.5.
asking about 8.5 CPI or something. See, talking about the CPI, I think if for branch change we told you what are the cutoffs. You want just a good CPI, then 8.5 plus is good. It is considered good. It will be like you will be considered for placements and all also in most of the companies.
Yeah, but if you are in CSE or MNC, I'm not so sure about ECE, but in these two branches at least, your CPI it will probably dip in the next few semesters, right? So try to get 9 plus in the first year, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, your CPI in these branches like MNC and CSE, it will actually be like an monotonically decreasing function by each year. So you can probably expect that your CPI will probably dip a little each year, and it's okay. I mean, it happens with almost everyone. It's not a very bad kind of thing. But just keep this in mind that if you are in these two branches, you should focus on scoring well in your first year, especially.
yeah, for like cutoffs, proper cutoffs, we can send the list of branch managers and they can like ping the people to know the cutoffs maybe.
And like
If that,
regarding your study groups, actually, you don't even need to play games such as Among Us and all if you are bored of them. You can simply do a video call over Google Meet or Zoom and just discuss with your friends what you did the whole day, what are you learning right now. Maybe some of you are interested in photography, some of you are interested in coding certain modules. So just discuss all this with your friends. It's really enough to develop good friendships. Like people do in our CSE freshers group. Some of the people do, and that's really great. So hmm.
Is anyone aware about the minor cutoffs? I guess for CS minor it was 8.5. Uh, Maths one, I am not sure.
CS is generally 8.5 everywhere. I know that for sure. For maths, I'm not sure what's the minor cutoff. CS above 5, like try to score matlab, above 8, be above 8. Any other CS has
marks
any idea?
marks is great for all subjects is like quite tough for us to like even predict because this is an online sim, so we cannot like just list it out.
What minors do CSE students generally take? CSE students generally do not take any minor. I personally took a design minor and I left after 15 days. So CSE people generally do not take any.
Some
I really
students,
do not know. I of only few people.
Guys, I guess you should not worry about minors as of now. And regarding what minor to take and not, we will be having minor talks for you when it is necessary. Don't think about the minus now, I guess.
Yeah, just try to get as good a CP as you can, and then
Yeah.
I
Focus
guess.
on the CPA.
Yeah. So any other doubt? You may like just type it.
What 9
You
CPA in
don't
CS?
About 70, I think. Shad.
see your
हाँ
Vishan,
I don't know.
what's
9 CGPA की कितनी कट ऑफ थी?
80 के अराउंड अगर 10 होता है तो मे बी 70 to 75.
ये केमिस्ट्री में आन को शायद पता था.
chemistry में 10 went at 78 or something. 9, I'm not sure. Like, see, generally, at least in an offline semester, the gap between two grades, the range for one grade basically is around 9 marks or 10 marks.
I think chemistry's cutoff was 75 something.
Yeah, 78 or something like
But do not take it very seriously because your semester's marks versus grade will be very different than ours. So try to do your best. Do not take ours mark very seriously, like above 80 you are safe, something like that. Do your best what you can do because it's an online semester.
I will, at last, I will tell that don't take tension of any courses because already you are in the position that you can handle all the courses, but just don't take it lightly. So it can affect the CPI. Even the 3 credit courses can also affect the CPI. So if you are getting in any quiz, if you are getting less marks, so then don't take tension. You can improve it later.
Freshers, any more doubts?
And even
Yeah,
if
it's
after
relative grading for you.
like we don't really know relative or absolute, you'll get. I think
Most of the times it's relatively, so you can expect it to be relative.
For most of the people. I guess for double, we had absolute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for double we had absolute.
So I guess we are done with the doubts as well.
I just wanted to address one more point. Someone was stating that sir is very fast during his lectures. So I wanted to address that. If you feel that any professor is going very fast and a lot of you feel that, you can just write a polite mail to him and not to spam his mailbox, but write a polite mail to him that sir, we are feeling the pace to be slightly fast. As a formal mail, I would suggest a very formal mail that we are. So it is kindly. Can you slow down your pace a little bit or something like that? Professor generally listens to students. If it is a common problem among the first year writes, yes, I think that he does. So people are saying. So you can write an mail requesting him to. It's finally up to him, but you can request write a polite mail and do not spam his mailbox. Like do not start writing it. Discuss it amongst yourself in the common fresher group, WhatsApp group, and 1 or 2 people only write a mail to him, a very formal mail with all the formalities, and request him. Probably he will listen. So I think
and
that's it.
like Pankaj has asked that is it necessary to make notes? Like if you are able to follow the flow of the slides or maybe of the class, then no need. And it basically depends on you. If you feel that you are not able to follow the speed, maybe then you can make notes.
Yeah. Now
And
see,
just
Anna,
write.
This varies from person to person.
Yeah.
you have also written about revisiting videos again and again. I think that would take quite a lot of time, right? If you write notes, you'll be able to
Yeah.
easily access whatever you want to see. That's why it's helpful. Like I think videos would be around 40 minutes, and if you keep on finding whatever you want to see, it's not that
Yeah,
good an
Pankaj,
idea.
if you face such problem, then it is better if you make notes.
Yeah, but see, one thing is that making notes takes, and you might not be having too much time that you make notes for each of the 6 as I said here. So be selective in that. Wherever you feel there is greater need for making notes, make notes. It would help you.
Like I would like to add one more thing on a personal note for this batch especially. So I would really suggest you to study as hard as you can in these two online semesters, like you always should. But especially, I think this is the most I would recommend for your branch. The reason being that I know you gave your JEE exam in tough conditions. It was postponed quite a few times, both your mains and advanced exams, I think. So I think you all may be expecting your college life to be very exciting and interesting, but as you can see, it is an online sem, so I'm sure most of you may not be enjoying your present college life, if we even should say this as college life as such. So I would really recommend you to focus on your academics during these two online semesters, so that once the campus reopens, so that you can fully explore the campus. Like you will really be shocked that what college life actually is. At that time, you will realize that all the hard work in those JE and other days was really worth it. So when your friends will be enjoying in the campus, I really don't want you to like fret over your grades at that time, because you maybe did not focus much in the online semesters. So if you really want to enjoy your campus life as much as you can that time, so just focus on your academics a little extra in these two semesters, if I may say.
Pranshu, you asked, do we make notes? It depends subject to subject. What we would suggest is when you watch the videos for the first time, try to understand all the concepts, and when you go through it again, you can just go through the slides. It will be enough if you understood the concepts at the first time.
Regarding semester online offline, it may hurt you people, लेकिन the fact is that सबसे पहले fourth year will be called back. I think they are being called back right now. उसके बाद थर्ड ईयर का नंबर आएगा, फिर आर टर्न विल कम, एंड एट द वेरी लास्ट तुम लोगों का नंबर आएगा कैंपस वापस आने का. तो just prepare yourself. It may reopen early, but don't count on it. I mean, be prepared for two online semesters.
That's the likelihood, and I think we should be getting back in July. Like, not getting back, if they're getting back, you'll be getting there.
So I guess we can wrap up the session. We will share you the contacts of all our speakers and hosts today. You can DM any of us if you have any more queries. Ganesh, you want to add something?
No, it's fine. I think all the content is covered. If you have any doubts, you can DM us. The last side, I guess, contains the numbers. You
Yeah.
can approach any of us through social media also. We will always try to help you.
And yeah, we will be sharing the slides which we used today, and we will also share a drive along with some of the resources, as you all were asking about previous year question papers and all. We will share it all. So on this note, I guess we can end the session now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. And
Thank you. All the best here,
Yes,
everyone.
I thank all. Thank you.
Thank you guys and take care.
We will mail you with all the material. I take the opportunity to thank all our speakers for your time. I guess this was a very enlightening session for all of them.